Hey there, my friend Chad Reyes here. Super excited to spend the next 25 minutes or so with you and really talking about, Awaken Your Potential, which is a recent book that I recently wrote. And it's so powerful because it allows people to reach their potential. As we unpack the last 2 weeks leadership principles from the book, today we're going to be talking about the last part of the book, the last four chapters, and I'm just excited to spend some time with you. One of the things that is so important to me and my wife and our organizations is really making sure that what we're doing is we're awakening, empowering, and equipping leaders to reach their full potential. I love talking about empowering generations of leaders and how important it is for leaders to think generationally. And that's what you're going to get at the leadership table. You're going to have conversations with some of the greatest leaders that I know. We're going to have conversations around some of the greatest leadership principles I know that we're teaching to corporations, we're teaching to not-for-profits, we're teaching to churches. And I just want to challenge you as we lean in, as we press in. Let's do something special. Let's grow to a level that our leadership makes a difference and a mark on everyone we come in contact with. So, you know, in the past, I've shared this story. I heard a gentleman by the name of Miles Monroe many years ago, and he had said this. He said, "Where is the wealthiest part of the world?" And that question got me going on a journey. I thought maybe it's Dubai, maybe it's New York City. And he said, the wealthiest part of the world is down the block from your home. Now, down the block from your home, he confused me. But then I realized, because he said the next thing. He said, down the block from your home is the cemetery. He said, and that's where most people bring all the dreams, all the visions, everything that God has given them. They deposit it in the cemetery. And my friend, the next thing he said is he said this. He said, my job is to walk into your life and help you rob the grave and die empty. And that's what I'm hoping the leadership table does for you as well. That every time you listen in, you say, wow, this is impactful. This is challenging me to be better. This is challenging me to be a better father, a better mother, a better leader, a better businessman or businesswoman, a better pastor. I want to jump into chapter 7. Chapter 7 is leadership is caught, not taught. And my wife and I, we learned this principle very, very, it was very real to us. And the reason why it was real to us is we've been reading books. I've been reading books since 23 years old. I don't remember if I shared this with you, but at 23 years old, I looked in the mirror and I just didn't like the man that I was becoming. I would give up when things got hard. And what I realized is that I needed to learn, I needed to grow. And the greatest way to do that was to read books. So from 23 to about 38, 15-year period of time, I read nearly 750 books. Now, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I was insecure. I was reading so much because I was insecure, and I said, if I get smart, well, then what'll happen is I'll be able to sit at a boardroom table. I'll be able to have conversations with business leaders and feel confident about myself. And it partially worked because I learned a lot. But in 2019, I learned this principle, which leadership is caught, not taught. Because in 2019, my wife and I, we met John Maxwell. We met him at a conference, and then we started traveling with John, and we started getting around John's circle. And one of the things I can tell you about that was I actually caught the leadership DNA that is inside of John. John's become a great friend and a mentor to us. But the most important thing is that I really want to encourage you to find mentors, find people who can walk into your life and really challenge you to be better, because you'll catch the DNA that's inside of them. I want to give you 3 things that I talk about in the book. These are the 3 types of mentors. These are those who know you and they know they made a difference. I had many of these mentors in my life, John being one of them. I have a gentleman named Joe Matera, who's also a mentor to me. And one of the things that you realize is that people will come into your life, and what they'll do is they will, if they're the right people, they will encourage you, they will challenge you, and then they will transfer their leadership DNA to you. That's the reason why you want to be in close proximity, because the first type of mentor, they know they know you, and they know they made a difference in your life. Let me give you the second type of mentor. Those are those who know you, but they don't know they made a difference in your life. I had a gentleman, Richie. He was he was friends with our family. His son and my younger brother were friends. And Richie was a great businessman. He was doing amazing things. And many years ago, he shared something in one of the businesses that he was in. And all he did is he challenged my thinking to say, hey, if Richie can do it, Chad, you could do it too. And my friend, the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because I'm saying to you today, if I'm doing this, you could do it. Not only can you do it, you could do it greater. You can build businesses bigger. You can influence the world and positively make a difference bigger. But these are people who you know, but they didn't know that they made that difference in your life because they didn't say, hey, I'm actively coming in and I'm going to mentor you. I don't know about you, but I'm sure there's many people that look up to you. I'm sure there's many people that when they hear your name, they say, wow, that, so-and-so made such a difference in my life. Hey, you're playing a role of a mentor, even though you may not have accepted the role of a mentor. Wow, so powerful. And then I want to give you the last one. The last one is those who didn't know you and yet made a difference. These are the people that you've read their books. I just mentioned to you before, I read 750 books over a 15-year period of time. Many of them I've never met. I could tell you right now, Ken Blanchard, I remember it like yesterday. I was going into Barnes & Noble because a friend of ours was dealing with some really serious anxiety and depression. And my wife and I had read a book that really encouraged us many years ago called The Ultimate Gift. And I was going in there to get the ultimate gift to give to her. And I had just come across a book. It was literally right by the register. Like when you're walking out of Barnes & Noble, they have a couple of books that are right by the register. So it was right by the register. And I literally remember saying to myself, wow, this book, I need to buy it. So while I bought The Ultimate Gift to give to our friend Christine, I bought the book Lead Like Jesus. That book changed my life. It started shaping how I think about leadership, how I think about making a difference in people's lives. And and then I read the book The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, and that book marked me. And then I remember Miles Monroe talking about the wealthiest part of the world and the videos and the books that I read through him, and then Joe Matera and then John Maxwell. But it's amazing because John and Joe, I read their stuff, but they become mentors and people that I would do life with. And I just want to encourage you. I don't know where you are on your journey, but I can tell you this. Get around people that are doing things that you want to do, and you will catch their leadership. Because leadership is not caught. It's not taught, it's caught. And, one of the things I love when John Maxwell says this, he says that we teach what we know, but we reproduce who we are. I want leaders to be reproducing in my life that are doing things that are amazing. Hey, you're listening to the Leadership Table with Chad Reyes. Download a complimentary chapter of my book. You could go to chadreyes.com/WMCA, and you could just download the first chapter of my book. Every Monday at 6:30, we go on live. We go live on Facebook. So you can literally jump on Facebook and we can have a conversation around this leadership table discussion. Or you can also go on YouTube and you can interact with us and my team on YouTube through comments and chats. So I'm just so excited. You can visit chadreyes.com/WMCA. So let's talk about the next one, which is in my book, it's chapter 8, getting a return on your failure. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I failed tremendously. When I say tremendously, I mean tremendously. And the reason is because I didn't have principles and values that I would live my life by. Now, you fast forward many years later, I have that. I'm not willing to compromise in areas that I know would literally bring shame to my family, to those that I love most, to Jesus. Like I don't want to compromise in areas, but many years ago, I didn't have those level of convictions and values. And one of the things is I started failing, and I failed rapidly. I mentioned to you that I went bankrupt at 21 years old. I mentioned to you that I had gotten arrested. So when you think about these things, now I'm glad to say that when I had gotten arrested, there's nothing on my record. That's the power of God, how amazing He is, because I had never had any issues with the law before, so they dismissed the case and got rid of it. But getting a return on your failure is so key, because many times you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed. And, I love the quote from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs said this. He said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." I don't know if you know this, but 31% of American adults are afraid of failure. That was me. And then the last is 90% of CEOs agree that the fear of failure is their main cause of distress. So what that means is you don't eliminate failure. You don't eliminate the fear of failure. You learn how to adapt through it. You learn how to lead through it. And I want to give you something, a formula that I learned from John. It's a powerful formula. He calls it the cycle of success. I since then have said that a lot of people really are in the cycle of failure, and I'll unpack that for you. But the cycle of success is this. It's that we test, we fail, we learn, we improve, and then we re-enter. Test, fail, learn, improve, and then re-enter. Now, the reason why that's important is this, is that we're all going to try things and they're not going to work. Not everything I do, not everything top leaders do works. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a return on failures because we know that things often don't work. But the powerful part is when you learn from it. You see, the cycle of failure is this: you test, you learn, and you re-enter. You test, you learn, and you re-enter. Now, I don't want to sound as if I get it right every time, because I don't. But I can tell you almost 100% of the time when something doesn't work, I'm thinking of that. Doesn't mean that I've perfected it. Doesn't mean that it's perfect. Now, let's break down the test part for a second. The first part is this, is that you have to realize that you're never good the first time. And the second part is you will not test if your future is not brighter than your past. You see, I ask a question often to people. I say, "Hey, tell me about your high school days." And then I ask them a follow-up question. "Hey, tell me where you're going." I can tell you with high level of certainty, the ones that their past is brighter than their future, they're more excited about their high school days than they are about where they're going. And my friend, if that is you, then you're going to be very fearful to test. And the reason is that because if you test and it doesn't work, that means you're a failure. So in your mind, I'm not saying that that's the case, but it's really important to contextualize what failure really is. Failure is just something that you tried and didn't work, and then you can go to learn. And when you learn, everything starts changing. I want to share this with you. Success and failure are best friends. Failure isn't an event. It's not a person. Failure is an event. It's not a person. And then failure is a great teacher if you'll allow it to be. If you allow failure in your life to be a teacher, you will learn tremendously from it. When we talk about learn, I'm going to read this directly from my notes. I had a coach many years ago. He had shared this with me. He said, "We live in a school called life. Every person and event contains a valuable lesson. Lessons you resist will persist and they repeat. A lesson will be repeated until learned. Every time a lesson is repeated, it becomes more painful. And what lessons have you repeated that have become so painful?" The fourth part is improve. So test, fail, learn. Here's improve. How can AI improve this? That's the question you need to be asking yourself. And the reason why I say, how can AI improve this? And you need to be asking yourself that question is because we are going into a world that is literally being led by AI. And it's a game changer. So when you're learning and improving, how can AI improve this? And then re-enter. And re-enter with a new mindset, a new strategy, a new belief system, and new behaviors. It'll change everything in your life. It has for mine. I know it has for John. It'll do the same for you if you allow it. Failure is not a bad thing. Fear of failure is a bad thing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You're listening to the Leadership Table with Chad Reyes. I am so excited that you're on this radio station and this call with me. I'd encourage you to go to chadreyes.com/WMCA to download a free chapter of my book. I think it'll be impactful for you. It's chapter 1. Yeah, and also join us every Monday at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook. Facebook will be able to interact real time and live and be able to answer your questions. And then you could also listen in and join in the chat on YouTube as we answer your questions via chat. Hey, just so appreciative that you're joining me on the Leadership Table. This is a table that empowers generations of leaders where we believe in leadership, that you awaken, empower, and equip leaders to reach their full potential. So super excited to have you. Let's jump on in. Let's go to chapter 9, Learn, Earn, and Return. I love the quote, we often overestimate what we can achieve in a day, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in a lifetime. And the reason is that we usually don't have a methodology and a process for how we're going to maximize our life. My friend, I'm telling you right now, if you can use what I'm about to share with you, which I had to learn through struggles, tears, I mean, it was painful going through it. But as I learned, I said, I want to teach what I've learned to others so that their life can get better. So that was the premise for this chapter, Learn, Earn, and Return. So what that is that what I found is there are 5 areas that we want to focus on. We call them the fishes: financial capital, intellectual capital, social capital, human capital, and spiritual capital. Now, what makes that so powerful is that it allows you to focus in areas that you want to develop and grow in. But I want to help you kind of just break down these phases, because what I've recognized is the better a leader can understand that a big vision gets accomplished in small pieces, and small pieces lead into a bigger vision. When I work with business leaders and when I work with organizations, I'm able to help them take bigger picture and break it into smaller pieces. And what I've realized in my lifetime is this whole learn, earn, and return phase. It doesn't mean that you learn first, then you earn, and then you return. It just means that you have these 3 phases that sometimes are sequential, sometimes are running concurrently, but all the time have to be very aware that you are operating within one of those 3 phases, and sometimes 2 or 3 of 2 of those phases. So let's talk about this. You have the learn phase. Now, what makes the learn phase so powerful is that if you know that you're in the learn phase, then what will happen is you'll focus on really learning your craft, learning how to lead, learning the skill sets that are needed to take you to that next level. Now, I know for me, I remember I had a coach who said to me, he said, Chad, you're always 8 steps ahead. And at that time, I thought that was a compliment. Oh, I'm 8 steps ahead. Not realizing that I was trying to grow quicker than I actually was able to grow. And there was a gap. That was a gap in my life for a while. Well, what I realized was, if we can embrace the learning phase of our life, and we can find relationships, companies, organizations, mentorship that will actually allow us to learn and expedite that process, it'll change everything in your life. It certainly has for me. And I just want to encourage you, in the learn phase, just learn everything you can about the areas that you're going to spend the rest of your life making a difference in. I wish when I was younger I knew that I would have just spent time in the areas. Today I focus on 3 areas. I focus on leadership, business, and my faith. I go deep in those things. But then you go to the earn phase, and the earn phase is where you maximize your ability to earn. Now, my friend, I want to tell you this, and I'm just going to make this very short and simple. In the in the earn phase, you will only earn to the extent that you can produce, because the ability to produce is what brings back your return. So you can make a living. You can make financial resources for the things that you do. Unless you understand this next topic that I'm about to share, that's producing to reproducing. You see, when you produce, you eat what you produce. When you reproduce, you have the ability to maybe eat more because you're eating smaller percentages from many other people. That's a reproduction model. That's where you go from being a producer to now reproducing more leaders. That's the greatest way you're going to earn. The greatest way you'll earn in your life, the greatest way I'll earn in my life, is not by producing. Producing, you can only have a certain amount of time in a day. You only have 8,760 hours in a year. But when you learn how to reproduce, you get the ability to multiply what you're able to accomplish because you created a reproduction model than a production model. Don't miss what I just said. For so many years of my life, I focused on producing rather than reproducing. And today, and I promise you for the rest of my life, I will focus on reproduction because I understand that that's the greatest way that we can make the greatest difference in the world. It's also the greatest opportunity to earn in our lives. And that's the phase I'm in today. I'm super excited about it. And I want to give you the third phase. The third phase is return. This is where, you get to go from success to significance. Success is all about me. Significance is all about others. And my friend, in the return phase, return will look different. Return for you may be spending some time with younger leaders and just investing in them and sharing your experiences with them. Or return may be you've been blessed financially and now you want to make a major difference in organizations that are near and dear to your heart. I don't know what your return phase looks like, but I can tell you this. If you have a clarity around learning, earning, and returning, it'll change everything. It has for me. I'm blessed to say that I operate in all 3 phases during where I am right now in my life. I have the ability to learn, I have the ability to earn, and I have the ability to return. But knowing where you are in those phases is so key. And let me give you the last one. The last chapter is fulfill your potential and die empty. Now, you heard me share earlier about the cemetery and where's the wealthiest part of the world. But I want to read a quote to you by Miles Monroe. He said this. He said, "One of life's great tragedies is that the majority of the world's population is comprised of individuals who have negotiated an agreement with mediocrity, signed a contract with the average, and pledged allegiance to the ordinary. They resolve never to be more than society has made them or do more than is expected. What a tragedy of destiny. God expects more." Powerful statement. I just want to share with you, I don't have enough time to go in depth about it. I'd encourage you, in my book, Awaken Your Potential, you can get it on chadreyes.com/WMCA. I go deeper into it. I don't have the time today. I wish I could. But these are the 13 enemies of potential. These are the things that rob people of their potential, that then they take that potential into the grave. The first is opinion of others. So often we are so focused on the opinion of others that we get shaken to our core and paralyzed because we care so much of what other people say. Let me give you a second. Fear. I had a coach years ago that said this: fear is false evidence appearing real. And the reason is most of the time, the things that we're fearful of, more than 95% of the time, never actually occur. Discouragement. Listen, I don't know about you, but I know that I've been discouraged in my life. And because of that, I've stopped moving forward. But the great part about it is if you keep moving forward, you'll have amazing things happen in your life. Procrastination, past failures, we spoke about that. Distractions. How about this? Traditions, wrong environment. We will take the DNA of those that we're around. We want to make sure we have the right environment. Comparison, disobedience, opposition, societal pressure. And I just want to talk to you the last one, success. One of the things I realized about success is that it robs people of potential. And the reason why it does is the things that you've done to become successful, you stop doing because you think that you are better than you are. My friend, don't allow success to rob you of your potential. You have so much inside of you. You have so much that you could be given to this world, that you could be giving to your family, you can be giving to your team members, you can be giving to your church or your business. Don't allow success to stop you from growing. Hey, my name is Chad Reyes. I am so excited to be on this leadership table with you. Every Sunday at 6:30, join us. Hey, on next week's session, my wife and I, we're going to be having an amazing conversation. I love this woman tremendously. You're going to love the conversation we have. We're going to be talking about why failure grows you more than success. She's going to be joining me. We're going to have a conversation with you. So you do not want to miss this. Why failure grows you more than success. Hey, in wrapping, thank you. Go to chadreyes.com/WMCA. Pick up a copy of my book. I go in depth on what we've discussed the last 3 weeks. Hey, I'm just so glad to be on this journey. Thank you. I believe in you. I appreciate you. Keep going forward, my friend. You got so much inside. God bless. Be well. Hey there, my friend Chad Reyes. I am so excited about our radio show coming up, The Leadership Table with Chad Reyes. It's every Sunday at 6:30. Then we're going to go live on Monday at 6:30 so you could ask your own questions. Jump on in. We cannot wait to have you join us. It's going to be a time where I invite some of the greatest leaders I know to join me at a table. And what I've learned about a leadership table is that's where potential is released. Every Sunday, you want to join us. You want to be sitting at that table with us so that you can reach your potential, you can release it in others, and you can accomplish your dreams. My friend, like, share, comment, drop a comment. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. I just can't wait for you to be on with us. I cannot wait. And listen, hey, hit subscribe at our YouTube channel. Visit chadreyes.com/WMCA and you'll get all the details you need. I'll see you on the table.